Hello, my name is Ellie. Welcome back to my channel. I went on a road trip this summer with my grandmother and sisters and my sister's boyfriend, and it didn't start off exactly as planned. I was at the airport in Wichita, Kansas heading towards California, and my 6 a.m. departure flight was unfortunately delayed and just kept getting longer and longer and longer, and everybody in the airport was getting kind of nervous, and signs weren't even posted up on the screens. It was all done in paper. It was really strange, and eventually I rerouted my flight to fly via Texas instead of Denver, Colorado, and I ended up landing in Texas several hours later and then getting another connecting flight to Redding, which did mean that we started our road trip a little bit late, unfortunately, but I guess that's just how it goes when you're on the road. When I landed in Redding and got out of the plane, it was so hot. I think it was like a 100 and something degree day there, which isn't too unusual for Redding, California, but it was still quite a shock to the system after being in an air-conditioned flight. We then got in the car for our first drive of the trip, which was from Redding to Trinidad, which is along the northern coast of California. It's about a 3-hour drive to get there. We played a bunch of word games in the car along the way, as one typically does on road trips, and generally just had a really nice time. Trinidad is a place that my grandmother visits frequently, as it's a nice way to escape the heat in Redding, so we've all been there a couple times before, and we actually ended up going for a walk on the beach when we got there and then staying in a cabin that I've stayed in when I was about 6 years old, which was kind of cool to be back. I had planned this road trip earlier this year after my grandmother suggested it, as we did a road trip last year actually in the Southern California area. I'll leave cards up for that if I remember, so you can check out those road trip vlogs as well. The scenery there was incredible. So after doing that road trip and having such a great time, she suggested doing another one this year, and since we had gone south last time, we went north this time. Here, when we were little, it's weird, those exact rocks look really familiar. And I had always wanted to see Washington, and so we planned a route that would take us from Redding all the way up to Washington and Seattle specifically. Welcome back to the channel. I'm back in California. I don't know if you watched my vlog series last year, but I was in California for several weeks touring around on a road trip with my grandmother, and here I am back again with my grandmother, but this time I also have my 2 sisters and my sister's boyfriend, and we're heading up north through Oregon along the coast and into Washington, and then we will cross over into Olympic National Park in West Washington State and then down into Seattle at the end, after which I'll be going to Central America, so it's a whole long trip. This has been night 1. We spent our first night on this road trip in Trinidad, which is on the north, like west of California on the coast. It's known to be a good place to like go to the beach, more like the windy cold beach, and go into the tide pools, and there's big redwood forests here. Literally where we're staying in this cabin, there's redwood forests everywhere. It's beautiful. And we just woke up this morning and we're going to go to the beach and see the tide pools, and then we're heading onwards and upwards along the coast on the 101 into Newport, which is our stop for tonight. We are now at Sumeg State Park, and we're gonna go to Wedding Rock, which is this beautiful rock. I want to show you. Here's a sign for the Rim Trail, and it's basically in the Redwoods. It's really, really pretty. And I'll show you the rock in just a second. Izzy! At Sumeg State Park, we saw a village that was previously inhabited by a Native American tribe, which was really interesting. So we're at, what is it called? Sumeg State Park. And this is like the old village thing. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I don't know if we can go inside.
That must be the sweat. Can you go in?
Yeah. It's tiny. It's a little claustrophobic. I think I'm not gonna do it, but you can do it. And then we got back in the car and headed onwards towards Lady Bird Johnson Grove, which is a redwood grove. Yeah, I like it better with the food here because then it's more accessible. Oh, sorry. Yes? Or no? Yeah. Million years.
Does it have good reviews?
It does.
There's a line.
Well, that must be good. How did they find? Yeah, they must know it's here because nobody would have seen it.
Well, it has the espresso sign. No, probably back in the 60s. So they built up a big wall.
Yeah.
I can't remember what you call it. You can see that.
We went for a quick hike in this area and it kind of reminded me of Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon National Park, which we visited on the road trip last year. And this is part of Redwood National Park, which is another great California national park. It's actually insane how many great national parks there are in California. And every single one I've been to so far has been incredible. And then there's also the state parks in addition. So there's state parks and national parks. The national parks you can get a pass for that gives you access to all the parks for a year, I believe, or multiple years depending on the pass. It's called the America the Beautiful Pass, which is valid in the entire United States, so that's great. And then the state parks unfortunately have additional fees. I'm not sure if there's state park passes for like the state of California. That would be cool to look into for a next trip if we do another one.
There's a deer right here. It's like a sort of really elegant
And off she went and never returned. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Here's a big wave for everybody. Hope you get a chance to see the trees in this really right up there through the entranceway. Next to my right boot.
The highway taco joint. After the state parks, we actually ended up stopping at the side of the highway for lunch at this taco place, which I'd found on Google Maps, and it was really good Mexican food. The people that worked there didn't really speak any English, or at least there was a cashier, but she didn't really know anything about the food, so we ended up speaking to the cooks who spoke only Spanish, which was really fun, so we got to practice our Spanish, and the food was incredible. And then we continued on. Once we got into Oregon, there were a bunch of cool bridges that we crossed over, and we were basically snaking our way along the coast. There were a lot of great views as well. It's just really nice. When I was planning this road trip, I would just map out the cities that I wanted to see and like the driving times and see where it would be best to sleep. Also in terms of price for accommodation. I can go into more depth about planning road trips in another video. I did make a video about that last year already. I'll link that here as well. Thanks so much for watching this first little episode vlog of our Pacific Northwest road trip. There will be more vlogs incoming from all the other stops that we make and all the other things that happened along the way. If you made it to the end of this video, comment a USA road trip destination that you would recommend for me to do next year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, whoever you are, wherever you are. Bye!